It is Yoda Monday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. Welcome to the very latest iteration of Easy Meditation Sadhana, or Sadhana. Please chant with me. Whoopsie, that was interesting. In our compassion may we long to free all beings' choices. Let's try this again. In our compassion may we long to free all beings' choices, utterances and deeds from being dominated by the survival impulses of hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. In all pragmatism, may our liberation of all others be fueled by our reliance on the Buddhas. Example, instructions, and students described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. So now we're going to recite the 8-syllable synopsis of those last 2 pages. May we free all through the 3 jewels. May we free all through the 3 jewels. May we free all through the 3 jewels. Come, let us demystify enlightenment. Yes, there are many elitists who would swear up and down that enlightenment is difficult, it takes an extremely long time, the lifespan of the birth, sustenance, and death of 3 universes. But these people are contradicting what the Buddha taught. The Buddha taught that full enlightenment could be accomplished in as little as a week. For enlightenment is merely mastery of the Buddha's 8-fold path. But what do we mean by mastery? No human child is born knowing how to use the toilet, tie their shoes, brush their teeth, or ride a bike, and yet 9 times out of 10 most children get so good at those 4 activities that they're able to practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively prior to entering 1st grade. Humans have evolved to learn. And now here is the punchline. Simply by playing with the 7-fold of the 8-fold path, mindfulness, and the 8th fold of the Buddha's 8-fold path, meditation, the remaining 6 folds of the Buddha's 8-fold path fall into place automatically. So, real quick. Excellent. So I see there's a question. What I'd like to do right now is tap button 8 and take a look at that. Okay, so Joram wrote, I need to give you all what my sad news is. My term cancer, yet me happy. Thanks with your good recipients of why my sug is good. News, think, so I can see, etc. Okay, so in the final half of this morning's practice, we're going to be performing mantra meditations of love, and let us remember Joram's health during that portion of this morning's practice. Now, the mantra meditation of well-wishers is fine and dandy. Of course, it's no substitute for medical treatment. It is merely an adjunct. So I'm going to tap button 9. Given the importance of mindfulness and meditation, let us view mindfulness through the lens of neuroscience after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School, for more than 30 years. I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. We come to the first sixth of this early morning's mindful crease counting meditation. Let us review Bengali crease counting. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 4 sets, and you've got 48 inhalations. We could keep track of those 4 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of our first quarter, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Oopsie. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to gently coalesce at the crown area of our head. So, as promised, let's explore the neuroscience of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we automatically and effortlessly access our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice, in a very special way, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, but notice what? To notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, such as emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we interrupt the habit of our cerebral cortex competing against our sympathetic nervous system, setting space for these two to cooperate. Now let's turn to a brief review of meditation. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release what we noticed during our previous inhalation, thus causing what we noticed to fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less defining, and even fleetingly less permanent. This is the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the deep familiarization with the literal impermanence that supports letting go. And it is brought to you by our friends Mindfulness and Meditation. So together as a team, let us practice mindfulness and meditation right now. Allow me to remind people that the path we tread is a path of spiritual mastery, not mastery over our body, but mastery over our mind. There is no shame in submitting to medical care. I've known many people who squander their spiritual path trying to reinvent the wheel, trying not to need doctors, trying not to need air, trying not to need water, trying not to need sleep. That's foolish. We need these things. So let us work with the tools at our disposal in the most skillful way possible. Some people say, believe that you are free of cancer. Believe that you have no symptoms. But that is ignoring the first enlightenment factor, which is mindfulness. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with the sights we see, the sounds we hear, the sensations we feel, the flavors we taste, the smell, the scents we smell. We have to be vulnerable to them. Belief isn't about being vulnerable. Belief is about being very rigid. I choose to believe thus and such. I choose to feel thus and such. We're called to be vulnerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting in our perception, in our awareness. The historical documents reveal that the Buddha never disrespected a physician, and when physicians offered the advice for the welfare of his students, he always was keenly receptive. We're on the path of cooperation, not competition. Let us practice Mahayoga's wisdom warm-up. Please chant with me. Rather than indulge or controlling tendencies with all follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief, we could just recite these wise words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Let us therefore sidestep the rigidity that confuses metaphors for statements literal, and relax into the flexibility that savors the chance explaining metaphors as similes. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to the tip of our left index finger and rest our left hand upon our left thigh. All circumstances or lots could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this body or form. All these words could coalesce into a 6-syllable summary that we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to the tip of our left ring finger and rest this left hand upon our left thigh. All bodies or forms could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this communication or speech. Let's touch the tip of each finger. Let's try this again. Let's touch the tip of our left fingers to our palm and rest our left hand upon our left thigh. All interpersonal communication or speech could be as impermanent and interdependent as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into this mind. Let's try something for a second. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to the tip of our left middle finger and rest this left hand upon our left thigh. All minds could be as impermanent and interdependent as if they could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could delightfully absorb into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although tantalizing to the eye could be non-graspable to the hand. So all these words now coalesce into a 6-syllable summary that we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. We turn now to the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, Ati Yoga's mindfulness and meditation. We've come to the second sixth of this early morning's mindful crease counting meditation. To keep track of this second sixth, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce into the heart region of our chest. So, quick review. Here we shall begin with a quick review of mindfulness. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. And now let's take a deeper dive into meditation. Let's look at meditation through the lens of neuroscience. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of our spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system is wired and has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as the mental release of all that we noticed during our previous inhalation, causing that which we noticed to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, this is clearly a figure of speech, and any good English teacher will remind us that a synonym is only as, that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we must ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the hand? And so we see that the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is also the deep familiarization with the figurative emptiness that supports our mental release, and it is made possible through the practice of mindfulness and meditation. In essence, every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we interrupt the habit of our cerebral cortex to actively compete against our parasympathetic nervous system, and thus setting space for these two to cooperate. So, together, let us practice right now. We now turn to Mahayoga's mantra-oriented loving kindness. Please chant with me. Rather than indulge or controlling tendencies with the follies of active visualization, emotion, magic, and belief, we could just recite these kind words in harmony with our breathing and allow our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. Let us therefore sidestep the rigidity that confuses metaphors or statements literal, and relax into the flexibility that savors the chance explaining metaphors as similes. Let us begin by reviewing an explanation of the Benzaguru mantra, or the meaning of the Benzaguru mantra. Together, let's chant. I invoke teachers Om action, Om meditation, and Hung view. That the Benza Tantra Guru teaches by my enlightenment and city abilities, whom may be mastered by all. Let us touch the tip of our left thumb to the tip of our left middle finger, and rest our left hand upon our left thigh. Please chant with me. Now, what we're going to do is not prayer to a real or imagined entity. It is simply using words to guide our intention. Our intention can be competitive or cooperative. It can be cruel or it can be compassionate. We are selecting a compassionate intention. In a world where so much harm, well, I'll come back to that. Let's continue forward. Please chant with me. May all minds of all beings know me as peacefully enlightened as thee. May the mind of each being know be as peacefully enlightened as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha symbolized by a tikle one syllable seed or bishamantra. All complex life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically. That's why we work with similes and metaphors. All these words could now coalesce or be summarized within just the 6 syllables, which we divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. So here's the secret of mantra meditation. During our inhalation, silently and mentally, we recite the 6-syllable synopsis. During our exhalation, we do 2 things. We physically relax as best we can while striving to chant the 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Ahum Benzaguru Me Masiri Hung 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 Om maziri hum. Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me 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 Maziri Hum. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, and not in the fun, tingly way. What could that suckiness look like? It could look like the majority of us being conditioned by society to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. When those whose worldview is one of being rigid and controlling strive to meditate, something very unfortunate happens. They wind up primarily focusing and analyzing when using structures to do so, such as the medial or dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. When we exhaust this region of our brain, it triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, which I'm sure you would agree is the opposite of peace and love. So here's the wild thing. The antidote for this snafu is mindfulness and meditation. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative syllable this, the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics, even notice anxiety and aggression. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, the parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release what we notice during our inhalation, including anxiety and aggression, but also including the tendency of anxiety and aggression to control or dominate our choices and our utterances and our deeds. But there's more. The more we play with the noticing and releasing of mindfulness and meditation, the more we stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, this structure which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which in turn is the root of compassion and love. This is exactly why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that the highest love is the spontaneous, uncontrived, and effortless side effect of simply noticing and releasing. How important is this side effect? It comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, including kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and commerce that is as cooperative as it is kind. And all this comes simply from mindfulness and meditation. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Well, so let's put this right here. Welcome to the third sixth of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Let's touch the tip of our, let's try this again. Let's touch the tip of our the four fingers of our left hand to their palm, and rest our left hand upon our left thigh. May all relationships, communication, or speech of all beings be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha speech symbolized by a multisyllabic mantra. Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung 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 Om Mahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung. Welcome to the fourth sixth of Mindful Crease Counting Meditation. We could now rest all four knuckles of our right hand upon all four knuckles of our left hand, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or our real or imagined subtle energies to gently coalesce at the portion of our throat that we feel tightens up before we cry. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release whatever it is that we have noticed during our previous inhalation, whether that which we have noticed is a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, a scent, or the like, whether that which we have noticed was an emotion, an intention, a cognition, a recollection, or a figment of our imagination, whether that which we have noticed was external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, or glorious or grotesque, whether that which we have noticed we feel to be desirous or dreadful, whether that which we notice is a subtle resistance to the real or potential absence of what we desire, or whether that which we notice is a subtle resistance to the real or potential presence of what we dread. We're able to notice these things and relax. Now, there's a very real fear that if we do this, we'll become doormats to the universe, forever having muddy boots scraped across our metaphoric face. But here's the irony. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we will notice our choices and utterances and deeds flowing from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, which should not be confused with the scattered spontaneity we could experience after our third consecutive energy drink, but the centered spontaneity, which is the sixth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path and the automatic, the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. So together, let us practice right now. By the way, allow me to remind you, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Mindbloom asks an interesting question. So Mindbloom has several questions. Let's see. Hey, I've just been studying mantras. I was chanting the Medicine Buddha mantra earlier. How many other mantras are there and how can I find them? Do you picture anything while you meditate? These are excellent questions. The classic answer to your question is the task before us is not to master every mantra. That would be an exhausting and fruitless endeavor. Our job is to notice which mantras empower our meditation. If we're too tired to sit and meditate, that's a big old bummer. And so a good mantra will give us enough vigor to meditate without making us too agitated. There are many forms of mantra work. Many people visualize. However, if we're going to blend mantra recitation with mindfulness and meditation, we must not concentrate on anything, on an idea, on an image, on a sound, on a scent, on a sensation, on a flavor. No concentration. As we breathe in, we note, well, as we breathe in, during mantra meditation, there's something we recite. And as we exhale during mantra meditation, we physically relax and mentally release. In addition to that, our brain's going to do all sorts of interesting things. Let it. Don't try to control your brain. Sit back and enjoy the show. You can notice what's going on, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, but not actively. That's concentration. Concentration and mindfulness use different parts of the brain. Once we start focusing and holding our mind on one image, we are going to trigger our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. We don't want that. We want to be loosey-goosey and relaxed. Our quest is not to control our experience, but to simply notice it and release it. I hope that helps. Please, let's together touch our thumbs to the tip of our left ring finger and rest our left hand upon our left thigh. And we are going to be mindful right now, or at least somewhat aware of Joram Arentved. Joram Arendved's health. Right now he's struggling with cancer. So let's think of all who are struggling with cancer right now and all who are struggling with any type of physical malady right now. Please chant with me. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health represented by Buddha's statuary. Oh, yes. I should use a different image for this. Quick, bear with me while I swap something out. This should take less than a minute. I'm going to hit insert and pictures and device. Scrolling over to Buddhist Yoga and Kuntu Zangpo and Rupas. Let's see. Let's go over here and let's hit wrap text behind text and now scroll over. So I'm going to see how this fits. Hey, that's working pretty good. Okay. Almost. Almost. Cowabunga. Oops, one more. Cool. All right. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health represented by Buddhist statuary, depicting the blissful body of a real or Ramajanya Dhamma type of enlightenment such as Shakyamuni. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the, I think it would be better if I swapped out this image, insert pictures, this device, here we go. All right. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the 6-syllable synopsis. As we exhale, we could do two things. We could physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung 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 Om Ahum Benzu Guru Me Maziri Hung. Welcome to the fifth, sixth of mindful crease counting meditation. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. This is called mindfulness. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one syllable verb ease during our exhalation. Our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release all that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Together, let us practice right now. Let's touch the tip of our thumb to the tip of our left index finger, and then rest our left hand upon our left thigh. We come now to the final quarter of our love practice. Let us lovingly wish that all beings everywhere would be freed from the tyranny and cruelty inflicted by others. Sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, classism, exploitation, fascism, jingoism, genocide, and ecocide. Together. May all circumstances or lots of all beings know have the safety, good fortune, or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paratus per lando vanti. So one moment, if you please, this might be useful. All right, here we go. May all circumstances or lots of all beings know have the safety and good fortune or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise per land of Vanti. Let us now divide the six-syllable synopsis or summary of what we just chanted between our inhalation and our exhalation. During our inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite the six-syllable summary. During our exhalation, let's do two things. Let's physically relax as best we can while striving to chant the 12-syllable mantra 8 times per breath. Om Ahum Benzu Guru Mema Siddhi Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Mema Siddhi Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Mema Siddhi Hung Om Ahum Benzu Guru Mema Siddhi Hung. Om Ahum Menzuguru Memasiri Hung 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 Om Ahum Menzuguru Memasiri Hung. Welcome to the final sixth of this early morning's mindful crease counting meditation. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. This is called mindfulness. Each time, let's try this again. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation. That's called meditation. Together, let us practice right now. This is this early morning's last meditation, so let's make it count. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to today's dusk meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.